Hey, what's up? I'm Zach Aguilar.
This is Rob Moreira.
I'm Ryan Colt Levy.
I am Griffin Burns.
Debbie Derryberry.
Crispin Freeman.
Excited to be here on the Points of Experience.
Points of Experience.
Points of Experience.
Points of Experience.
Points of Experience podcast.
Sometimes I think to myself, you know, you're in a very, very lucky position with what you've done in your life, the people you've met, the projects you've gotten to be a part of, the friends you've made, and the fact that I get to add doing 1 year of a podcast with some of the greatest guests we could have ever imagined is kind of like the supreme cherry ice cream on the top with the sprinkles and all that great stuff. It's insane. This is 50 episodes of the Points of Experience podcast. Keith, can you believe we've been doing this for a year? Can you believe that?
No, not at all. When we started this, my first impression was, I'm sure we'll have like 15, 20 episodes before something else is going to pop up. But no, we've made it the full year, and it's been a wild ride with a lot of amazing people.
I have corralled you into was going to be a short-term endeavor into a year-long expedition, and it's just been so great to see how much the show has grown and to see how much people have gotten from it. We truly see all of your messages and your comments and your emails, and it means a lot to know that there are people finding this resource to be something that they can make part of their week or part of their lives. I was doing the same thing that a lot of aspiring artists were doing. I was listening to, Crispin Freeman's voice acting mastery. I was listening to Rob Paulson's Talking Tunes, to Chuck Duran and Stacey J. Oswad's VO Buzz Weekly. There's so many amazing podcasts, and to even have the arrogance to think that we need another one was a part of the equation. Why does there need to be another one? But the thing that we talk about today in this episode is I think we offer a little bit of a fresh perspective from somebody who's going through these trenches right now on a very tangible level, not just from a voice acting perspective, but all careers. I have had my hands in so many different jars through filmmaking, on camera acting, writing, directing, and, having people all parts of the equation in this kind of nerdy atmosphere. The writers of video games, the people making microphones, the people doing things for your vocal health. We've had so many various amazing guests that it's really been such a 360 full experience, and we have so many more phenomenal guests to come, not just in the voice acting sphere, but on camera and everything else we just mentioned, and we hope to branch out even further. Keith, what are some things that have happened from the past year that you've enjoyed about this podcast, and what are some things that you hope to see going forward, having been a part of the show for a year now, 50 episodes?
I'm definitely impressed, and I want to see more of the scale of the people that we talk to grow. We've talked to a lot of people all the way from small-time actors who are getting their foot in the door and starting their big career, and we've talked to people who have been so far down the line that they go, I don't even know how I got here. Mm-hmm. We heard that story a lot. I don't know how I got here. It's very sobering and makes people realize that I can make it through this. I want to see more of that. And I would love to see people who are commenting and watching and listening really get involved and see if they can really put their foot in the door and get their way into this field like everybody always says they dream of doing. Because anyone can do it.
It's kind of like what happened with, in a funny way, if you haven't listened to this, I was on Crispin's podcast, and it was a kind of, for him and for me, a surreal moment of, somebody who was a listener somehow becoming a part of the show and a part of the legacy and a part of the career. That was, for me, I think, just as enjoyable as it was for him. And I hope a lot of the people listening get to, not that there is a caliber of X makes you successful, or if you don't do this, it's not as valuable as doing this. We talk about, we'll get to in a second, we talk about that. There are things that it's just about kind of doing what you love and being a part of the storytelling process. And I hope that we can create more of an engagement and help inspire more people, and to see success stories from people who have listened to this and found a nugget of wisdom along the way. That's kind of my ultimate dream, and kind of my goal is not to just selfishly get to speak with a lot of these talented people, but to also really inspire the next set or generation of artists in whatever way. Because when I was starting out, there was not many things like this, early on in my career, and it's just so cool to see the capabilities for things, and it's just reminding me now. For those of you who have been listening so dedicatedly, we are going to be offering some subscription-based things to help us keep continuing to create the show. At the moment through Spotify, you're going to be able to subscribe and get access to exclusive episodes. So that's another way you can get a little bit more intimate conversations that I'll be having on a more specific and targeted level about certain career aspects and questions, or with specific guests that we want to make sure, it might not be a 1 hour episode. It might be a 3 hour episode, or it might be a quick little chat while I'm on the road at a convention. Just things that are a little varying from the script that we want to offer to you, our listeners, and as a little bit of a thank you, as well as being appreciative of you supporting the show, but also as a way to create new and inspiring content. We're also going to be doing a lot more things with YouTube as we grow our platform there. We're hoping to just create varying different ways of creating content. So it's an exciting time for us, and we hope you will continue to support us on our journey as we continue to try and support you through yours. Keith, what can you say about the two people we're about to be joined with today?
The two guests we have on today are very special, obviously, to you and to myself, because for me, they are people I never thought I'd have a chance to speak to on a personal level. Because, as most people are probably not aware of, I do talk to them before we do the episodes and after the episodes, just in casual conversation, and that's been very much a shining moment for me. And for yourself, they're very close friends of yours. So when you speak to them, you speak in a very relaxed tone. It's like I was talking about before we recorded. When we do our podcast, it's less of an interview and more of a conversation.
Yeah.
And what you can expect from this conversation is smiles and laughter and a lot of praising of these two wonderful young actors who will continue to grow. I can't wait to see where they go next.
We're talking about two of the greatest people I know as human beings, and two of the most wonderful actors in this industry. We're talking about Colt Levy, who many of you know as the voice of Denji in Chainsaw Man. He was on our podcast within the first couple of episodes that we had, and Yong Yea, who many of you know from his very prolific YouTube channel, and the voice of Pucci in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And to see their careers grow, from the moments I've met them, even prior to them being on the show, and to know where they are going, and the raw talent that they have and they've been able to display in their various different credits, and the credits to come is just so phenomenal. And I'm just so honored to call them my friends, and we really kind of get a little bit emotional and real about what it's like to be friends with each other in the industry, and where we hope to go, and who we hope to continue to be, and what life has been like in this past year. It's been a 1 year kind of reflection of life for this podcast and life in this industry, and I really think you guys will enjoy hearing from them a year later. If you haven't listened to their first episodes, make sure you go ahead and do that, and maybe come back to this one, because it's just so crazy to see how far they've grown and how far they've gone, and how they continue to be the most amazing human beings I know. So here we go. Episode 50, Keith. 1 year of the Points of Experience podcast. It's crazy. Make sure you guys like and subscribe it, because that helps get it into the hands of more people. Do it now. Keith's going to do some magic editing wizardry right now that you're going to see, where you can do all that stuff. And leave a review if you're so inclined. We do appreciate it. But strap in. The 50th episode, 1 year anniversary, voicery of the Points of Experience podcast. It's always very dramatic. It never happens at the right time. But,
of course,
dudes, two of my favorite people in the world today, Yong Yea and Colt Levy. My gosh, thank you guys for coming on to our 50th episode of the Points of Experience podcast, the 1 year anniversary that we've been doing this, which is absolutely insane. And I must say, this is not me being biased, but truly, you are people who have helped me to be able to have this voice in whatever capacity. Talking with you guys gave me the confidence to say seriously, two of my favorite interviews, and Alejandro, who couldn't be with us today, but like seriously, you guys, to sit down with just genuine human beings that I've known and who have kind of welcomed me into this world like a baby emerging from the womb. I really do appreciate you guys both deep from the bottom of my heart. So this is a really special moment to share for, me and Keith and for the podcast. And just thank you guys for coming on here, really.
Dude, it's my pleasure, my honor. We've known each other for some time now, and what better way to spend an afternoon than to chat with the boys? And congrats, man. Seriously, it's so crazy how time flies and just how far you've taken this show and how many incredible guests you've brought on board and how informative you've been. And this is so cool to just be a part of this.
Yeah, dude, we freaking love we love you. This is the easy part is gushing about you and hanging out with you boys. The crazy part is 50 episodes. That is so impressive. I need you to now in this episode take the accolades of how much hard work you and Keith have put into this, and this is all you, my man. This is
seriously.
This is an extraordinary thing that you've done. I think so much of this, not only in the moment that people have been experiencing it, but it's going to, have a life for a very long time. And I think so many people are going to come to it at different points in their lives when they need, these kinds of forms of information. And I really genuinely don't think there's been a space for, going to all these conventions. I get so many questions about pursuing this career or experiencing stuff in this career. And this is one of the places that I direct people to because it is so full of such extraordinary, raw, vulnerable resource and honesty. And you are one of the genuinely most humble and wonderful people in this industry, and that we know. And it is such a selfless thing for you to do, regardless of this being your show. It's a really selfless thing for you to put in this much work and time to give other people platforms and other people the chance to be educated and grow. That is so impressive.
Yeah. Dude, if I had this, trying to, build myself up, to being a voice actor, doing this professionally, dude, I would have been so much better off. And so it's cool that you're giving this to people.
That's the goal, and thank you guys. That's very kind of you to say, but I truly, I've learned so much in what as Ryan said, and even you're saying, it's this was not here. I want to speak with people who are, you both have had such great careers, even, when we talked, I guess around a year ago for each of you, your careers have changed drastically in this year that has changed, which is I'm excited to touch a little bit on about. But more importantly, for people listening, it's it wasn't too long ago that many people we were not Young in the YouTube world, that's a different story, but we were not household voiceover names by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
So to see all of our careers in different ways, change dramatically is so inspiring, I think, for anyone listening. And I get emails, I get messages, I get the comments saying, each of you, for both of yours specifically, too, how much people appreciate hearing from people in your positions and to see your growth and to see how it can be done, how you can succeed and take the world by storm. So I think it's unique in that regard, and I'm just happy to be in a position to talk to you people because you guys are great, and I learn so much. I really do. I'm selfishly gaining so much knowledge, and that's kind of a part, I think, of why I want to keep doing it, is because it's beneficial for me, and I think hopefully beneficial to other people.
Definitely.
Considering it's been a year, what has been in the last year for each of you guys? What's something that's changed for you, or something that you've kind of maybe a life philosophy or an outlook on things, or professionally or personally? What has been something you're okay, since last year I'm trying to focus more on this, or this last year taught me this? Has there been any kind of self-reflective things that have happened in the last year, since last time we spoke, where you're at that point I was like this, but now life is like this? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to remember exactly where we left off when we recorded our episode, but...
I think that just came out. I think the movie just came out, whenever that was.
That's insane. Yeah, so to say my life has changed is an understatement.
Very much so.
Yeah, you know, it's incredibly surreal what has happened ever since then, and you guys have been a very, 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 very necessary and deeply appreciated touchstone of like mental and emotional survival throughout one of the craziest and most transformative experiences of my life. And as far as like learning from, you know, like before Chainsaw Man and after Chainsaw Man, you know, the biggest things that I'm really focusing on, it's kind of like it's twofold. One, with everything that's happening, with embracing all of the adventure and so much of the opportunities that are coming with it, from traveling to conventions to new work opportunities and different kinds of eyes being on me that weren't before, and just making friends with people. Like, just everything is a very surreal experience right now, but so much of it is constantly reminding myself to be grounded and to just be grateful and to realize how privileged and fortunate and lucky I am, regardless of any other thing. You know, I am so incredibly lucky to be in the position I'm in, and every day I wake up grateful and just want to be able to turn whatever this is into more joy and whatever good things I can for others. The other thing is practical, as far as like mental and emotional health, taking, you know, kind of getting back onto, I was like on a really hardcore regiment of fitness and health and stuff before the pandemic hit. And then I allowed myself to get more comfortable, you know, with life and everything. And then now with all the traveling, you know, I'm just really being extra diligent to try and just be as healthy as possible, to be present as possible for all of these shows, and still be able to show up for work every week, you know?
Right.
And gratefully I've been able to, like 99% of the time so far. And then the other part of it is career-wise, you know, I'm just excited to keep growing and challenging myself and trying new things. And, you know, there's so much... Like, this hasn't made me in any way want to, like, rest. It's made me only more excited and hungry and kind of ferocious and lovingly creative. Yeah, so it's like, it's an extraordinary kind of vitamin boost in a weird way that, you know, a lot of people, I think, understandably could be totally exhausted by now. And I genuinely feel, like, supercharged by it, you know. So that's my long-winded answer.
That's amazing. Man, for my part, you know, JoJo was incredibly transformative for me. You know, that was really getting Pucci was when I felt like not to say that other roles, you know, like don't matter or whatever, but it's like, but there's that one role that really makes you go, man, I really freaking made it, didn't I? Like, I can't believe I get to do this. But you know, I there's some stuff that I wish I could talk about that I still can't, you know, that I think will be very transformative, and that I'm just like, I can't, you know, wrap my head around the fact that it's reality.
I mean, dude, what you've already accomplished in just these few short years is so impressive.
Dude, same with all of us, I think, you know, and watching you guys grow alongside me, like, that's been really, you know, I remember, like, you and I, Ryan, especially, like, starting out when you first contacted me and we first met up, it's like we were at kind of like similar places trying to figure stuff out, like we both kind of like really went up there, and we both kind of, you know, the motivation you gave me to just like believe in myself has been really great. And then when I met you, Paul, and I mean, all the kind words you told me during our last episode, and, you know, seeing all that you've accomplished, you know, it's been incredibly propelling to me just emotionally, and it made me double down on this craft. And you know, this year's, I think, going to be a whirlwind, the second half, I think. You know, we'll see what happens, but there's just some stuff that I wish I could talk about that I can't.
Oh, you'll be able to soon. And the thing, speaking from experience,
yeah,
once you're able to talk about it, all of this will be a distant memory. So, like, honestly, hold on to this moment. It's one of those weird. There's a special magic to the, like, this part,
the anticipation.
You know? Yeah. Because that goes away, and then it's really gone, and then everything is you're just in it. So in a weird way, enjoy this moment, because it's a lot more brief than you realize.
Absolutely. And yeah, there's just there's just a whirlwind of things that have been happening that I just can't wait for people to hopefully, you know, take good things out of. But on the other side of things, I'm in a similar boat with you, Ryan, as far as like health goes. This year I've scaled back my upload. I've been in the gym as much as I can.
We know.
Right. You know, it's been, I've been grinding for so long that I've just like forgotten to every once in a while stop and smell the roses. And so I'm trying to focus more on that in 2023, where I'm uploading kind of, you know, not every single day, but, you know, 5 times a week instead of 7 days a week. And then every morning now I am hitting the gym, which is a first for like many years since COVID started. I just kind of stopped working out altogether. And so now, you know, with my good friend Bill Butts, shout out to this wonderful man.
We love you, Bill.
He's been, love him to death. And he's been a huge motivator. And he's been teaching me a lot about just how to do this working out thing and get the gains, if you will. But career-wise, you know, it's like I'm just so incredibly grateful that I get to do this, and I hope that I can retain that gratitude forever more, and that I can really just fall in love with the craft and that be the focus. You know, I awards and accolades and whatever, like all that stuff's the cherry on top, sure, if that you know ever comes across. But to me, really delving into these characters and the fact that I get to do this in these settings that I personally love, you know, in these worlds and universes that I grew up knowing or watching or whatever, it's you know, to be able to play in that playground on an official capacity and be able to like give something that audiences can take and then maybe get something out of it, like that kind of impact is really the meat of this craft. And the fact that I get to do it is insane, and hopefully I get to continue to do it for as long as my body is able to, you know.
Without a doubt. And just a couple of comments here, but I was going to say exactly what you're saying is it's not just about wanting to talk about these things in a way where it's like, hey, I'm a part of this thing. It's
right.
When I know people like you and I know the work ethic that each of you put into these things, and the heart and the soul and the passion and the fire and the commitment to give justice to these properties that a lot of us were in love with. I mean, you know, we talk about like even Ryan with Chainsaw Man. I mean, there's like video evidence of Ryan being like, I wanna be in this thing, please. And then just to relish that, and having like, just for me as a spectator to like watch the show every week and to just see like the quality of the performance, that alone, that's like part of the eagerness I feel like that a lot of us share, to be like, I don't want to just brag that I'm a part of this thing. It's like, I want us all to like love the thing that I love and we love, you know? It's like we all collectively love this thing, and I'm working my butt off, and I want you to be excited to know that I'm doing my best here, and I know you're going to love this, and all of those things I think is a huge part of the components of it. And Yong, I know this is like, dude, I probably said this to you once before, but you know, like when you look at the trajectory of people's careers, I feel like, and I mean this as a compliment, I feel like you're so low on like the ladder of where you're going to go. I truly, like, I know that could sound like in a weird way like an insult, but I mean it truly as a compliment.
I know what you mean, and I
just know your
limits.
limits.
Only just begun.
You seriously, they've only just begun, and when we have another anniversary episode in 20 years, it's going to be hysterical.
Yeah.
For all of us, I think, we're all going to be in such drastically different and better places, and our careers are going to be insane in 20 years. I mean, in 20, we got so much time, guys. That's the thing.
We're already in incredibly fortunate places. It's so wild. And I also think what's interesting, just case in point of our even just our friendship, how lucky we are. You know,
seriously.
This field, no matter what, is incredibly competitive, and there are so many people, regardless of being friends or not, I'm sure have deep envy of, you know, XYZ's whatever, but our friend group has always been so genuinely supportive of each other, and we root for each other wholeheartedly, and I've never, like... I've never felt any kind of, you know, malice or weirdness or any like my favorite thing is getting to experience the work that you guys do. It inspires me. It makes me so happy. Like, I love getting to play a game or watch a show and be like, that's my boy. You know, like it's so fun. It's so good, and it's, you know, we don't perform for each other when we hang out.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting to see those other versions of, you know, ourselves.
Right, yeah.
You know, that, you know, we're not just going to do that stuff to each other. So it's really fun to get that crazy manicness out of Yong, or, you know, that incredibly sharp, you know, witty introspectiveness that you have. And like, there's so many cool elements that just, I love getting caught off guard by my friends and their work.
Seeing you go berserk in Chainsaw Man is just, it always catches me off guard. Every new episode, I'm like, oh, he can go further. It just gets crazier. Excellent. More. Give me more in my veins.
When I saw, I mean, there's so many episodes where that does happen to a certain degree, but to see the bar raised in different ways, it's not just about like screaming as loud as you can. It's like the emotional passion that happens in various different episodes because of different things. It's like, as an actor, I look on that in awe of like, damn, he is that freaking good, and I know the next thing is going to be, and, you know, when you read the manga, it's like, oh, I can't wait to see that happen. I know he's going to kill that shit too. Yeah. And to the other point, it's like, when we hang out, like you're saying, it's like, it's very weird, because I think people who maybe are interested in voice acting or are fans of a lot of what we do, it's like, maybe they think like, it's like, oh yeah, we all hang out and we talk about, like, you know, our process all day, every day. It's like, that's like the furthest thing from what we're usually sharing. And it's almost like because of the way recording is to a certain degree, we're never usually in the same room as other people who are doing the same things. So we don't really know what it's like behind the curtain for each of us. So it's fascinating to have these relationships that are so, you know, we talk about certain things, but it's so distant from the performance aspect of it. Yeah. And I think that's really healthy, and I think it's also it makes these moments really fun when we do get to talk a little bit about, like, you know, in the garage, under the hood, because we truly, I think, love each other as friends, and to have and I think that's why we don't have that, like, jealousy, animosity thing, because our friendships were grounded in reality and in who are we as human beings. And I hope people listening remember that it's about that, and making human connections with people, and people like working with people who are humans outside of, like, you know, talking about that one thing specifically all day, every day.
Yeah.
I also have a deep appreciation. I wanted to say this earlier, because of a lot of successes that have happened to each of us in different ways. To know that it doesn't change the fundamentals of who you are as a human being. And to comment, without getting into the specifics, it's like, I was out somewhere. I was out, and I saw Ryan out, like, giving somebody a tour of LA, which is something that, like, I'm like, I know Ryan really doesn't have, like, he should be resting right now, and he's out, like, showing somebody LA and being the kind person he was to me, you know, and, like, to know that we have that type of groundedness in who we are. I'm curious, for you guys, do you have a recollection of, like, I'm trying to not, like, I don't want to say the word fame, but success and elevating yourself? Is there a constant level of saying, remind yourself to stay grounded, like, remind yourself to still be the person that I am? Do you have that kind of filter for yourselves?
Well, I just genuinely don't think of myself as famous or anything like that, you know.
Yeah.
I really, 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 you know, I'm flabbergasted by the enthusiasm and attention and support that has come, you know, with doing Chainsaw Man, but it has not changed how I see myself in any way, shape, or form. I still just kind of see myself as this, I've said it to you guys before. I feel like a street cat who found the pie on the windowsill and jumped on it and was like, "You guys are gonna keep me here? You guys are like, it's cool if I stay," And I'm just so like grateful to get to do this work. Period. At all, it is pure joy to me, and every other part of it, I'm more constantly surprised by. Like, it doesn't matter what city I go to, or the fact that I still even get to go to a convention weekend to weekend. I'm like, really? I get to go? Like, really? There's someone here. Someone wants to say hi? Someone all of that is so wild to me, and I don't see myself, I still see myself as just the goofball that you guys know. So it's weird. I'm kind of always like, what?
Yeah, and I think probably for you even too to see some of the people that you respect. I know it's like you talk about it all the time. It's like, I can't believe I'm just got to talk to X, Y, and Z people. It's like that reality. I think is also got to be mind blowing. I turn into such a little kid. I become a total nerd. It's weird. I've had some experiences, and I'm not going to do like the name droppy thing, but I met someone this past weekend who I've been a fan of for a long time, and it was really weird how instead of how like I've met other people throughout this last year now traveling that I'm like that I've just been like that I fanboyed over, and I'm like, that's as far as that relationship's ever gonna get, and it's like cool that we're guests at the same thing, but I'm just like, I just want to tell you I love you and I'll leave you alone. But every now and then you'll just be in the green room having lunch or whatever, coffee, and you'll bump into somebody, or you'll see each other like while you're doing one panel or they're doing another, the weird like crossings at these things, and you just kind of vibe with someone sometimes, and it's really surreal to be able to become like friendly with people that you've admired in a way that you didn't think you would, and you just end up talking about music or this or that or whatever, and then suddenly they're like, hey, do you want to like hang out at this point, or here's my number, here's whatever, and or let's get dinner at this thing, and it's really trippy because you don't think about them as that person. You're just like, oh, it's this dude I know, and it's the kind of thing washes away and it becomes just your buddy, and it's such a beautiful weird thing, but it's also crazy to turn and be like, oh my god, that's so and so, and I grew up watching whatever, and I'm not even going to bother them, but I can't believe I'm in the same room right now, and my 5-year-old self is like exploding. Right.
You realize when some people do maybe have that chip on their shoulder, but a lot of people that I've met who are maybe also at a certain pedigree in their career, it's like you realize they're also just people, they're just flesh and blood. They breathe the same air. We, bleed the same blood, and they're all also just figuring shit out, and we're all going through the process, and everyone's trying to process their life where there's so much just happening around them, especially when you get at a certain level of prominence. And for me, with YouTube, when that kind of really kicked off, and I got to a point where people like started recognizing me on the streets, it was like this weird thing of like, really, you want to take a picture with this guy, like the guy who just like talks to this camera about like video games, but for me that stuff like keeps me grounded. It doesn't make me go, yes, I'm famous, ha ha ha. It makes me go, wow, like my work has impact, and so I want to keep doing this work and continue like entertaining people or informing people, or for me, it's just, I never dreamed, like in a million years, growing up in Venezuela as a little kid, looking up at the idea of being an actor, it just felt like such a distant fantasy. It's one of those things you daydream about, but you never think you get to do it. And now I'm like suddenly doing it. And for me, like, it's something that I can never just take for granted, because I'm still processing it. I'm still determining whether this is a simulation, where am I like being punked here, or is this really happening? So far so good. I think it's happening, so I'm gonna just roll with it, and just take every positive attribute of this career that we get to have and just embrace that, and hopefully I can inspire other people to take the leap, because you got to be smart about how you chase your dreams, but you got to have that fire in you. And I hope I hope I can serve as some kind of proof that it can take a lot of work, it can take years, but it's definitely possible. And go for it, because at the very least try, because you'll regret not having done so, and you never know what can happen, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to, I think for most people have that feeling of I'd rather have tried and given it my all and, had let the chips fall where they may, but at least I gave it that shot. And, it's a lot easier to go to sleep at night saying I gave it my all. I gave it the shot rather than wondering what if. I think a lot of people talk about that kind of anxiety or the regret. And, you really never know, especially in this career. I saw someone post something about this, or maybe I read an article about it. It's like, you never know. The smallest thing that you might do might turn into, it might not even be your best work in whatever capacity, but that might be the thing that brings you some sort of recognition or leads to another job that leads to a long-lasting career. And
you never know who sees what. Yeah.
Exactly. Always making sure you're doing great work and putting your best foot forward is always most important. But I wanted to ask you both, too, and specifically to you, Yong, someone who, through YouTube is analyzing or at least looking from a critical lens at the industries at large.
Sure.
What have you noticed now, like from the last year, being in this industry and, working in the industry and also having, commentating on it? What are some things that you've noticed over the past year, and you as well, Ryan, that, are either from like the companies making these games or the quality of the games or anything? What have you noticed from, the last time we spoke to kind of today, and what are your hopes maybe or your aspirations to see for things to come?
Right. For me, I've come to realize how underappreciated this profession can be in the sort of in the corporate side of things, I mean, we're seeing that with the writer strike, that the writers are the foundation of what we do, and they have to just drop everything and go on the streets and, just literally put their lives on hold just to make a point that you need us. And yet we're being paid scraps, all these things. And so I think there are definitely elements of the voiceover industry where I've noticed, like, wow, I think the floor can be raised. But at the same time, I've noticed just how incredibly gracious people can be in this industry, how incredibly helpful and humble and passionate everyone is, and they're really doing this because they love this work, they love this craft, they love the medium, they love the settings, the artistic authorship they get to have over these incredible worlds, and the amount of freedom you get to have as an artist in the voiceover realm. That all these things really trump so much of the potential BS that can happen behind the scenes or whatever.
Sure.
It really is a passion project, I think, for many involved in this industry. And I treat it as such as well. Like, I'm really not in it for, whatever, the money or whatever, or the prestige. I just literally, it makes me happy to be in the booth. And everyone I've met so far has just expressed so much of that similar sentiment of just, man, that gratitude, that they get to be a part of this at all. And so that kind of like a tide lifts all boats kind of attitude has been really uplifting. It really does feel like a close-knit community. And not to say there aren't some rifts here and there, whatever. That's the thing in every industry, every whatever. Yeah, exactly. But with voiceover, just there's something a lot more intimate about that community that I really deeply appreciate. And I feel like I lucked into being able to like be a part of this community and meet all these people who have just offered such incredible guidance and asked for nothing in return. They just want to see everyone succeed, and I take that and it makes me want to kind of pay that back as much as possible. It makes me a better person, and it's like there's so many positive attributes in this industry that has made me a better person, a better artist, and that just that's priceless right there.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, and I agree with all of that, and I will say to answer the other part of what you were saying, Paul, the idea of like where things have been going and where they potentially can go. It's an incredibly exciting time, I think. While it's also, there's a lot of weird adversity and kind of murkiness in this process of understanding certain elements of technology and all these things. I also think it's an incredibly exciting creative time, regardless of how much animation is equally suffering right now.
Yeah.
Right.
I think there is a incredibly powerful phoenix to rise from the ashes in a new way, shape, and form that I'm excited to see and help be a part of. And I think in the video game space, we're seeing extraordinary steps forward in what is still an infant of an industry.
Yeah.
And, I think all of us are incredibly excited to be able to, help tell those kinds of stories in those spaces more and more, because there's so much depth and opportunity to be explored there. And I think so much is just kind of getting cracked open. So I'm really just genuinely excited, and I'm going to remain optimistic about, where this can all go and the balance that can be found. And, especially, speaking on also the writer's strike and everything happening, I think it's really cool to see so many different forms of industry, banding together to support such an important, most important foundation of all of this, the people that really make all of these stories sing. So I'm excited to just kind of see where the growth goes from here.
I think there's only benefits to there being a positive outlook of things, and I think that's I wish that was a temperament more people took, and with our power together and the power of friendship and love and harmony and all that.
Well, I understand the frustration, so I don't blame people for thinking and feeling the way they do. I'm this is just kind of my natural state.
Sure, I agree, and I am of the understanding that you will, without getting too, like sappy, I've experienced in this past year for myself, I experienced such hardships, like with things in my own personal life, and when I started reflecting those to certain things in like the professional world to a certain extent, I mean, like with the writer's strike, I mean, my Allie is a writer, and I'm experiencing everything in that world happening firsthand. I couldn't be more understanding of those types of frustrations, and at the same time, I could never have been more appreciative of the fact that I'm able to play for a living. And there's a world where you can be understanding of your position and also kind of frustrated with the way that you're treated. So I think there is a balancing act, and obviously there's usually a lot of times people with a lot of money not giving it to people who deserve a little bit more of it. I totally understand that, but I've in my own circumstances, I've had a very stark look at like what are the things that are important to you, and not to lose my humanity through a lot of things, and not to lose my sense of life and appreciation and family members, friends, loved ones, and all of those things that exist simultaneously while pursuing a career like anybody else. To not get consumed, like my life is not just entertainment, that is not just the umbrella in which my life lives. I might live in Los Angeles and I might look up every day and see the Hollywood sign when I drive into Hollywood, but that is not what
you drive into Hollywood every day?
No, I don't.
Just picturing you being like, there she is, Hollywood.
All the time, Hollywood.
I like to start my morning driving over the hill and staring at that sign and going, you got me, baby.
Have either of you done the hike to the Hollywood sign? Have either of you done that?
I've been out here almost 8 years and I've never done it.
Oh my God, we got to do it just for the lulz, because I haven't done it either.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go, and we'll take a selfie stick and we'll do the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah, I wanted to. I'll let you talk in a second. I'll let you talk in a second. I wanted to also comment.
No, go for it.
God, I wanted to just say, because I believe you shared this, Yong. There was like just the inspiration of people who are creating things. Like in this world of like all this crap happening, I think you shared it. I saw this Steam game where someone did like etching, stitching of like each frame.
Oh my God.
In a world where could we not be more advanced, there's something so unique and beautiful being created at the same time. That inspired me so much. So I just wanted to
that looks incredibly cool. We're there's so much happening positively as much as there can be negatively, and I think
100%.
It's healthy to focus on both and be aware, but I think the more we can help support and bolster the positive, the more we can shift the tide,
Absolutely. Unfortunately, I think people's passions in the artistic realm are often taken advantage of, but those passions very much can resonate in very positive ways. And I think the VO community has been just based on my experience, has been just really ample proof of that. And also on the other side of the fence, I just wanted to really thank fans. I did my first convention back in January with Anime Impulse, and I feeling that energy from people for the first time, and not just through YouTube stuff, but also just through the characters that I portrayed and people's passion and love for the universes that these characters inhabit and the characters themselves. It was such an invigorating experience, and it further reminded me oh right, this is why I do this. Seeing the smiles on these faces and just being able to talk about our mutual love for this thing, and just that energy, that human connection that you make, because I think what acting at its core, I think so much of it is just empathy, and trying to convey empathy. Even some villains have, if you explore them enough, there's a nugget of humanity there that you're oh, I see why they became the way they are. And it's about finding humanity within these characters. And I think performance and art and mediums like video games and movies, they serve as a bridge between people who are worlds apart, but are
a strand, if you will.
A strand, if you will, straight up. As silly as that sounds, it straight up feels that way. Where I would have never met these people otherwise, and wouldn't have had these fulfilling conversations, and it might have been just a brief moment, but I think of those moments very fondly, and I hope to be able to do more of that. It's not just about signing posters or whatever. It's genuinely about that. I don't know. It's just that when I make that eye contact and I see that person beaming, and suddenly we're in this moment and sharing in our passions, it's there's nothing like that. And so I hope I can, through this art, connect more people and form more empathy with people, and have people think about characters and empathize with different kinds of human beings who we get to portray and tell their stories. And I don't know, all of that's what's really compelling about acting to me. And so it's cool that I get to see the effects of it as well, through the fans who have been so enthusiastic and so positive, and every person has said hi to me. It's meant more than It's for fans. They think, oh, it's such a brief moment. They probably won't remember me or whatever. And look, I can't remember every single name, right? It's just my brain only goes so far. But know that cumulatively, it's just further invigorated my passion for this thing that I do, and that I hope to continue to do. Yeah.
You made me think while you were talking. It's in a time in our lives right now where we're so technology rules so many aspects of our lives, and from somebody outside looking in, they'd be like, people who are fans of video games or anime, they're more reclusive people, and we're losing human connection to some degree. And historically, conventions were not as, a lot of the conventions existed, but now there's so many more, and I'm seeing a thirst now for this human connection of people sharing love for these things, and to be in human contact with people and to share this love. It's so much more important now than ever, because I feel like there is that combat of online reality and physical reality, and also sharing our love and our passions with these people in the flesh, which make these conventions and meeting these people who have, to a certain degree, we're like an outlet or a vessel for people to express their love for something, and a love for something specifically that we've done or helped contribute to their fandom, or a piece of their identity, a piece of what makes them feel happy every morning to walk around the world and be like, I'm a fan of JoJo's, or I'm a fan of Chainsaw Man, and my shirt is this, and I've got this pin. It really gives people comfort in a time where I feel like, especially through a pandemic, things got very alone, very dark for a lot of people, not just in the reality of things being closed down, but also just sickness and health, and having that human connection now start to become more regular. I feel like there is such a thirst for the sharing of the love for these things.
I mean,
Absolutely.
that's how Ryan and I became such good friends when we first started. So we talked about freaking Death Stranding, right?
Yeah.
For like we just walked around the neighborhood, and we shared in our passion of that, and like we discussed its themes and like delved deep into all what it was trying to say and how that resonated with us, and then how that creates a certain familiarity with each other and a certain trust, and it's like that's what art can do.
Yeah.
And so
100%.
Yeah, and being able to be like a cog in that giant machine as an actor, because I mean, acting is a piece of the writing, the directing, the sound engineering, the video editing, the graphics, whatever. There's so many different disciplines that come together to create characters and entire stories and universes, and visionaries, directors, all these people. They all have to kind of work together to create this conglomeration of disciplines, of artistic disciplines that can just shape people in really fascinating and positive ways. And so to be able to just be a part of that even is bliss. Yeah.
Favorite game or show or movie or performance in the last year that inspired each of you? That was that stood out amongst the rest in the past year since we spoke on this podcast?
Literally last week I watched this show called Beef.
Yeah. Oh, I saw you post about this.
Oh my God. Frickin'.
I have to watch it.
You'd love it, Ryan. I think anyone who watches this would love it, I think.
Yeah.
It's so much of it is about human connections, weirdly enough, what we just talked about, but told through this. Oh my God. No, I'm not even going to say anything. It's one of those things.
It's Steven Yeun?
Yeah.
Yeah. Steven Yeun stars in it, and like he's one of the producers, but I forget who directed it. But this man is a genius, and
oh hell yeah!
It takes you through both the worst of humanity and the best of it. You know what I mean? Like it takes you through this journey of malice that can eventually coalesce into an understanding of like when you settle down and like actually try to get to know the other person, what kind of connection that can form. It's like it's so much of it is about that, and it just really resonated with me, especially in these dark times. When there's so much conflict between people, especially on social media and all these things. Yeah. That was one of those. Yeah, man, I don't want to say more. Just I'd recommend everyone watch it. And Steven Yeun's performance in that, I'm like, and he's a Korean American who's just killing it. And I'm like, man, that inspires me to like get that good and be that for other Koreans or Korean Americans or Korean anything, and I'm just that was one of those things that just further invigorated me to be like, okay, I gotta like keep going and step my game up and like learn and get better at this and do what Steven Yeun did, with this show, what he did for me. I want to be able to do that for other people through my performances, and that's that cycle. I want to keep it going.
Heck yeah, I love it. It's on my list to watch.
Yeah.
While I think genuinely almost everybody in in the first season of The Last of Us was absolutely extraordinary.
Oh man, yeah.
Nick Offerman. And what's his partner's name? Murray Bartlett? Is that the actor's name? I don't want to get it wrong, but the two of them in that third episode,
yeah,
was some of the most extraordinary, sensitive, powerful, nuanced acting I've seen in a very long time. And there were moments that Nick Offerman just his physicality, the way that he would carry himself. Being someone who's already a fan of his work, in like a totally different kind of space.
Right.
Yeah. Murray Bartlett was right, correct, yes.
Yeah, oh, sweet, good. Yeah, and Murray Bartlett, who I know has been working for a minute now, and people are fans of in different things, but it was my first time seeing him, and it was such a masterful, sensitive performance, and the two of them, the way that they just kind of worked off each other was so beautiful, and I was so moved by it. I mean, aside from just emotionally the episode, just by the care that they put into the performances and everybody involved in making that episode. So that to me was like, it just stood out so much, head over everything else.
You should have seen us. Oh my God, we got a little like group together. We did a little watch party. And it was just dead quiet at the end of that episode, and everyone was just like, Just like processing emotionally.
Young, myself, and 3 other buddies all here at my place, openly weeping for an hour straight, and then like exhausted silence after.
Not a tissue left in sight.
Yeah, we were like, we need a palate cleanser, so we watched Puss in Boots right after, just to
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'll never think about strawberries the same way again. Lines like, man, I was never afraid until I met you, and I'm just like, oh God, come on.
You know, I was talking about that episode with Allie, and obviously, you know, like what Ryan was saying, it's a combination of so many amazing things, and the dedication and the delicacy and the subject matter, and the voice that it has for a community within a very popular game series that's going to have a lot of eyes on it. You know, exceptional things, and to top it all off, it's an episode in a TV series that breathes, like where you're feeling like it seriously feels like reality, and the performances are exceptional. Like that aspect alone, like there's every aspect can get like a gold star, but that from like an acting, cinematic, filmmaking perspective was something I haven't seen in a while, especially like with that subject matter, and it was just done exceptionally. So I'm gonna curse here, but you know, fuck anybody who thinks this is just a stupid zombie show. Like, watch it for that episode alone. You know, it is so freaking good. And a great series all in all. So yeah, that was one of my top. I'm trying to think of, for me, like what I was so focused on what you guys were saying, and I totally agree. But you know, there's Chainsaw Man, which is a really great show if you guys haven't seen. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. What did we watch that I watched Severance. I don't know if that was from this last year or not, but a new season's coming up, and that I really fell in love with that show. I
have to check it out. I know there's so much I'm behind on.
Yeah.
What's the actor's name? Is it something Scott?
Adam Scott.
Adam Scott. Oh man,
who's always been amazing.
Yeah. But I know him best from like Parks and Rec, and I just
right.
I don't know. This is such a different thing that he's taken on, and it's so compelling to watch him be in such a different kind of setting and vibe, and it's he killed it.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
Compare his performance in Severance to what he does in Step Brothers, and you're like, okay, that guy's a good actor. That guy.
And Ben Stiller is the producer-director of Severance,
and the showrunner. Producer. It's
right.
Pretty.
I love his. He's always been a great storyteller. His tone is always really particular, from Cable Guy on.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I don't think people realize his excellence behind the camera as much as his stuff, because, you know, like Zoolander and all the things he's known for.
Right.
Like, he's a part of so many phenomenal pieces of work. He gets his hands on so many great things. That's what I want to do.
2 shows that I've been hearing a lot about lately. Succession is one that I'm keeping my eye on, because a lot of people I've seen talk about just what an amazing show that is. And then it's a Bill Hader. Is that his name? Bill Hader?
Oh, Barry, my God.
Barry.
Oh, yeah.
Is it? Yeah, I don't know anything about it, but everyone's like, a lot of people have been talking about it. I'm like, all right, what is this? I kind of want to check it out. You know,
Derek worked locations on the second season.
He said that. I remember him saying that.
Yeah. Our buddy Derek. Shout out to Derek.
Heck yeah. It's funny because, to tie a couple of things together here, I was just listening to Bill Hader's podcast on SmartList, another phenomenal podcast if you're interested in acting in that world. He was just on, and I've heard him tell this story, but, you know, he came to LA and he was like doing production assistant editing work and stuff, and he wanted
to be a director, right?
He wanted to be a director, and he found himself in a Second City class, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody here that listens. I think it was Second City, and he was just doing it, and somebody saw him, and they got him an audition to SNL. But it was like another story of hearing somebody who moved here and just kind of was like doing a little bit of everything, and then found their way just by creating and being a part of the beast that is entertainment. And you just, again, never know how your life can change from being a part of one thing or another and saying yes to something. It's a really fascinating industry that we're in, and I think it also helps, too, to understand how everything works, you know, all aspects. I mean, Ryan, I know you too have had moments where you've worked in other parts of this industry, I mean, especially from the music perspective, and it only enriches you as a performer, as someone who understands how things work. So when you show up to
it makes
a job,
you appreciate everyone else's job and understand the weight of how much it all takes to just make a thing.
Yeah. Do you guys have any from now going forward? I mean, what are we? We're at May 8th right now as we record this. I don't know when this will be released, but do you guys have aspirations for the next year to come, or challenges you hope to conquer, or limits you hope to surpass? Like, are we trying to go Super Saiyan Blue here? Like, what is the next thing that you're working on for yourself? I mean, we talked about, even transforming your mental health and your body, but like, where are you?
Yeah.
What is like a 1 year goal from today on?
I want to do. Oh, go ahead.
No. Go for it first.
No, you.
I was just gonna say, from a performance acting standpoint, I want to be able to use my body more, and so I just want to do more performance capture. I did one gig that was performance capture, and I was 5 years old again. That was like one of the best days of my life, straight up. Like I just left with the biggest smile on my face. All the happy chemicals were pumping at their maximum. I was just I fell in love with acting all over again that day. Just seeing the combination of technology and artistry in and being a part of this project that I'm like that's so cool to be a part of. It was like everything, and I'm like, ooh, let's do more of this. And so I'm really going hard on like I think that's in part why I'm trying to get into shape as well, to be able to do that kind of stuff more efficiently, but also very much so like I just want to genuinely be as fit as I can be. I'm in my
suit.
Yeah,
exactly.
It is a tight spandex suit.
Exactly. Got to balance out the ridiculous dots with some form, some shape. Now, not mainly like I just want to be able to feel as good as I can feel. I'm in my 30s now, and I feel like I'm just getting started. And but yeah, like performance capture is a big passion of mine, and so anytime I get an audition for that, I put everything into it. And I'll keep rolling that dice until something cool lands, and that's kind of like, and also get more into like Western animation. I got to do like some prelay a couple weeks ago, and it was like so fun. And I want to just be able to do more of that, where I'm not constrained by something that's already done and that I have to work alongside with, but rather I can literally just perform, be everything that I can be as an actor, and they can like shape things around that performance. I want to do more of that kind of work where I can really be liberated completely, to kind of do what I can do and show what I got, and perform to the best of my capabilities. And just the more free I can feel in that respect with works moving forward, the more fulfilled I'll be. So yeah, that's kind of what I hope to do more of on a career side of things.
I love it. You will, and just for anybody listening, I know Yong kind of explained it here, but performance capture is when you are wearing that spandex suit. We were talking about the dots, and it's like they are taking oftentimes your likeness and generating an avatar version of that. And prelay is when you're recording before anything is ever done. So like he was saying, they kind of match your crazy vocality sometimes to animation, which is so freeing difference than dubbing, which is a lot of what anime is, or anime style video.
Right.
I mean, I have many aspirations that are possibly ludicrous, but who cares? I don't even know if it's worth even saying, because it's like I just have crazy dreams. I want to get back on camera, and I have at this point I'm so excited about the potential of whatever can come next. I mean, my genuine answer is I'm just grateful and would love to just keep getting to do work. Getting to do any of this work in any capacity is the greatest job in the world. And I'm just so grateful people let me do it and continue to employ me. So, to take all of the, there's so many things I could say, but to just remain employed is truly the thing.
It's a gift, and it's we are oftentimes, going back to talking about, we become these pieces that a lot of either directors, producers, writers, it's like, I want you to help be a part of my vision. And that's such an honor and a privilege to like be like, yeah, you're the voice, or you're the person that I believe can help tell the story the best way I can imagine it. And kind of for me, in a different way, I want to do more of that. I want to be doing more of the writing and the having the story and finding the people and working with people who I know are so talented. I feel like as a creator, I know so many wonderful actors. It's like I almost feel like it's a disservice to not be using my writing capabilities, because I know I have such great tools. Like I feel like I have such an awesome tool set, and I want to use those tools. It's like when like you ever see like in like an actual shed, you're like, that thing's freaking cool. I want to see what that thing does. Yeah. And I feel that way about like my peers and my friends, and there's so many ideas that myself and Allie have been working on that I'm just excited to figure out what those next things are, and be someone who helps employ people and be somebody who gets to tell things. I have fun. That's kind of my next
I'm excited for you, man.
Trajectory. And I'm excited for both of you. Gosh, this is like, I truly love you guys to death. I really, really do. I'm so fortunate. I was talking with Keith before we got on here. It's like I couldn't have been luckier to find some real grounded human beings in a world of such vanity, where the more I go home and visit New York, and I'm met with such adversity and such like raw emotion and sometimes hostility. Like it is truly.
God, I love that city.
I do. I miss it so dearly, and to know that there are people in a town that is traditionally a lot of facades, or there's oftentimes like like I'm friends with you because of this or whatever it is. Like I'm just really I'm so lucky to have met people like you and the people that we associate with, who are just genuine human beings who, even if we weren't in this world of voiceover or whatever together, I could fucking vibe with you guys regardless of any of those things being contingencies that we happen to be a part of. So I just love you guys. Thank you, and
love
thank you for doing
buddy.
this again, man. This is so fun,
dude. Huge congrats on just everything.
So cool.
I mean, 50th baby. Here's to 50
That's
more.
crazy.
Another year.
Yeah,
bringing more awesome guests, man. Yeah, you're gonna freaking kill it.
Let's do ramen soon. How about we do ramen soon to celebrate?
Please.
Or you know what? We should go to that udon place downtown.
Which one?
Ooh, yes, we're doing that.
Don't worry.
Yeah?
We'll show you.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
We'll guide you.
Many things to celebrate, and many more things to be celebrated as the time goes on, and as we continue to be part of each other's lives. I'm so excited for everything you guys have to come, and I'm just excited for the people that you will continue to grow into be, because it's so awesome to see people in, a point in time in life and just genuinely love who they are, and to see the way it's paid back, the way it's interacted with fans, and the way it flourishes into a career. So if anybody is watching this in the future from now, you've gotten a glimpse into who we were and hope to continue to be, and hope would evolve into better versions of ourselves. But 50 episodes of the Points of Experience podcast. It truly is a privilege to talk with talented individuals like Yong and Ryan here, and the fact that there is a platform like podcasts where people can listen to other people's stories, and there might be one little nugget of wisdom that comes across, or just even the idea of that person could do this, and now I'm getting the courage to do it myself, or it's giving me the push when I'm feeling down and out because my life is experiencing different struggles. Like the fact that this can be a moment of inspiration makes it all worth it, and it can't be done without any of you guys and any of the people listening. So it's just all love from me all around, and
grateful to be here, buddy. We love you.
Same, man.
Heck yeah.
Love all of you.
Well, until the next time, until the next 50, this has been amazing, guys. A final fun thought here as we talk about food. What's been the most enjoyable meal you've had in the last year?
Last year.
Oh man, well, I've had so many cool weird meals traveling, but I think both in quality but also the experience of the evening, the company, and the whole kind of the whole to do of it all, there was a particular oyster bar that I went to in Seattle with a bunch of my friends at that convention, and it was not only the best oysters I've ever had in my life, but one of the best nights in a dining experience I've ever had. Whoa. And not even like because it was like we were, you know, wined and dined in a way. We were treated really well, but it was just great atmosphere, just great conversation and energy, and our server was amazing, and the food was just extraordinary, and it was just a great city. It was one of those, like, you know, total put a bow on it kind of things. So yeah, oysters in Seattle.
Do you know the name of the place by chance?
I'm spacing on exactly what it's called at this moment, which is why I didn't say it. My brain is melting, and I'm very upset about it.
No,
but I have it written down somewhere. Because when we went, I was like, yoink.
Yep. Amazing, though. I love those type of, just like, it's all around great vibe, great place. What about you, Yong?
God, you know, I'm gonna sound real bougie, but there's this Michelin star restaurant that I went to called Chiquel in like Washington, and there's this friend of mine from Delaware who we've obviously now moved away from, but every once in a while we like come together. We're like, let's do like a Michelin restaurant exploration, and we went to this one called Chiquel, which is like Spanish influenced. And it was like, we still talk about it. We still think about that experience. It's you know, I used to be one of those people who would be like, you know, what's the big deal with these, you know, they overcharge for food that are like, you know, bite size or whatever. But then like you actually go there and realize like, wow, this combination of flavor and texture, like I could never accomplish this. And so it's just like, it just takes your senses to a whole new level. Yeah, it's an experience that's just, they make food in a way that is chemically so complex. And it all comes together in such a decadent way. And again, I'm sounding really pretentious right now, but I didn't believe in it until I tried it, and it was kind of really magical. And I try to go to like one of those types of restaurants once every year at least, just to explore the palate and how much I can maximize its ability to sense and taste these amazing foods. So, you know, I don't know. I'm a foodie. What can I say?
Listen, I think that's amazing, and I love that. Like, there are these places, even, you know, as a vegan, my places that I can go to are very limited sometimes and experience the cuisine of the utmost level. But, you know, I went to a place in, there's multiple locations in LA, but it's called Crossroads. And it's not overly crazy expensive. It's a little pricey. It's definitely, you know, like $30 plates or whatever.
Great view, too.
Great view, great atmosphere, great, like, cuisine and everything. And it's another one of those things where you're going out and you're sharing this experience and making memories with people, and it's imprinting a place and an atmosphere to a lot of what those memories are. And I think those help define and form who we are. I'm trying to... I know financially it could be hard for some people to do this on a regular basis, but I'm trying to make more of a point to experience different cuisines and go out to different places with different people and create those different memories, because I think a lot of times, me specifically, I get very narrow in like, this is my spot, this is where I go to, this is what I get.
Right.
And that's fine. It's totally fine, but I'm really having great experiences trying wildly different things and new cuisines and enjoying those moments. So there you guys go. Try out oysters, some Spanish-inspired food, and Crossroads if you're in Los Angeles. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for coming on. This was a blast. Here's to 50 years, and all my love to all you listeners and everything. And Ryan and Yong, give it up, everybody. Please go and follow them if you're not doing that. That's a given here. They've got cool stuff coming up, and you'll hear about it when they tell you, because that's how these things work. Okay? All right, guys, much love. A privilege as always to talk to some of the most respectable people I know, and for any of you who are listening, they are just in their own rights so amazing at what they do. To see Chainsaw Man explode the way it has, and Ryan finally he's been a part of such amazing things before. I mean, his credits speak for themselves. My Hero Academia, Fire Emblem, yada, 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 yada. But now to have this vehicle in Chainsaw Man, where it's one of my favorite animes of all time and mangas of all time, and to know that he just kills it, literally and figuratively, is so amazing. And Yong, to see the work he can do on JoJo's, and to know what he has in store, and to know that he, like we said in the episode, he's really only just begun. Someone with such raw talent and raw passion for quality in this industry is just so exciting. I'm just really honored and blessed. What did you think about the fact that we got to talk with these people 1 year later? Keith, I'm just so humbled that they joined us again and that we got to have such a wholesome conversation.
It's always special to have people who you view as professional colleagues and as friends at the same time to sit down and have those conversations where you can reflect back on the last year and really talk about your careers and how you've grown, and then talk about your favorite foods like we did in the very last part of the episode.
Yeah.
The big thing about these two in particular is they're very, very special to you, and they're very, very special to a lot of other people for very different reasons, and you can kind of feel that in the episode.
Yeah,
having Ryan be here as himself instead of as Denji, having people be able to see that normal side of him and realize how prolific of an actor he is, how far his range can stretch, is something incredibly special. And Yong Yea is the same sort of thing, where you watch him as Pucci and then you watch his YouTube channel and you go, these are not the same people.
Yeah. It's just amazing and we talked about that, to just enjoy these people as humans and to know that they have such depth inside of them as artists. It's just crazy, and to see them succeed is just all the more rewarding because I know how great of human beings they are. It's really, for the 50th episode of this podcast, I couldn't have asked for two better people. What do you think, Keith? We have some exciting stuff to come, right? Some great guests. We got
a lot of people on the docket that we can't quite share because we want to make sure they're all surprises. We've got, of course, plenty of things planned for everybody who wants to continue to watch you do your magic through YouTube itself and all the projects you have coming up. And of course, we have just the podcast for conversations with people that we care about and actors we want to see have that conversation with their fans.
Absolutely. It's another moment here, too, to just be appreciative of you and everything you've contributed to this podcast, because something that everybody tells us after we're done here, and it's just the quality of work we put out from an editing perspective, but just a production perspective. I really, as someone who's a part of it, I'm kind of just in awe. Like, this stuff just always looks so good. We have such great marketing materials. It really makes this industry and these educational conversations and the content pop and stand out and be very attractive. So I know I'm lagging right now, but hopefully this is still being recorded and you're going to hear me again in a second once my lag stops, because I know, yep, I'm still here, but it's fine. I'm realizing that I'm having as I compliment you, I'm having such an interruption. Streamlabs needs to stop opening tabs on my computer. But as I'm saying, it's just somebody like you to be a part of this podcast, creating such great content, creating such great materials is just, it elevates the quality of the show, and I couldn't have done it without you. So I'm very lucky to have had you join me here on this journey. It's been truly an honor to have you, and a blessing, because I couldn't do it alone.
It's an absolute honor on my part. And one of the things I've always been wanting to tell people about this, and I was waiting for this episode in particular to say it, was even if you don't think you have the skill set or you don't think you're good enough, still shoot your shot. Because what ended up happening, and the reason why I'm editing for this podcast, is Paul said he was looking for an editor. I didn't think I could do it, but I was pressed into applying to you, and you picked me out of it. Mm-hmm. And I'm very proud and happy to say that my skill set has grown. My production pipeline has gotten so much higher quality than I ever thought I would get to. And the fact that, as you said, every single person we have interviewed has a comment about the editing. I don't have an ego. I have a detriment to that.
Sure.
But
it's
the fact
healthy.
that everyone says it's good makes me want to put more and more effort and more work into it, because I want it to keep getting better for you, for the audience, for the guests, so that everyone can look at this stuff and go, in 5 years' time, it just got better, but it was still good.
Yeah, I've only seen you grow. I've only seen you learn. I've only seen you search for more cool ways to do things, from the moments we were starting off like with the intro animation, and see you be excited to try your own new things and to put your own spin on things. It's just, and like he said, he's someone who just kind of put his name out there, and it's a testament to, you never know what something can turn into. And also, you never know what your limits are. He was a good person that I trusted because I had seen his interactions. We've interacted before, and while he might not have been on paper the most, accoladed editor amongst the people who I had